first thing to do is to get the product ready to put on the machine. You usually have a white bucket for the A side or the isocyanate. You would take the lid off, put it on the machine on the A side, right in front of it. The B side needs to be stirred and color needs to be added. If it's a full bucket, you might have a tint pad. You have an easy to remove pour spout, squirt it all in. Take a mixer and mix for about 3 minutes. This one's been sitting around. There's just a little bit of material. It needs to be mixed too. Mix it for a couple of minutes, maybe a minute, and you're good to go. Now the B bucket goes on the B side. And now the next step is to put the proper hoses in the buckets. There's a white mark on the A side. The filter goes in the bucket like this. So when you take the cap off, it's a good idea to slide this nut back and then take the cap off. And the reason that you want to do this is so that you don't have residual material getting on the threads, because over time that might present a problem to marry these two pieces together. Now you want to turn the machine on. There's 3 separate settings. Right now it's set to run, everything will go. When you're through, you turn it off. You hear the inverter shut down, it's disconnected. And when you're through and you need to recharge the battery, turn it to number 2 to charge. Open this and plug in your house cord so you can recharge the battery. Okay, so again, we turn it on. Get your handle. Typically machines already have product in them, they're sitting with oil. You need to take and purge any of that material off. The first thing you do, take the nut off and the nightcap. And you want to keep that nightcap somewhere safe, whether it's down here or in the drawer for later. We're going to put this over a waste can, turn it on, and start the machine. Start it slow, because we want to prime the pumps. You'll see the material flowing up through the clear hoses. There you go. So now you have a good flow on both the A and the B side. Turn it down, turn it off. And now you'll put the static mixing nozzle on. Secure it with the nut. Now before you start filling joints, you'll turn it on and then adjust the speed control. Dispense a little bit to make sure it's on ratio, and then you're good to fill the joints. This boom and hook keeps the hoses off the floor, out of your way. Don't let this stay in the nozzle for too long without priming it, or it might cure and then you have to replace the nozzle. So now you're ready to fill the joints. Go whatever speed works for you, slightly overfilling. So when you scrape it flush, there's no low spots on the floor. Again, turn off the machine, take the nozzle off, keep the retaining nut safe because you'll need to use that again, throw your nozzle away. Okay, so if you're going to take a short break for lunch, use these zerks and add grease into the manifold. Dispense enough to where you see it come out of each side. Just takes a couple of You'll see the grease. Take that off. Always put a little grease on the threads. It's easier to keep it from any material sticking on there. Put the nightcap back on securely just like it fits, and secure it with the nut. Okay, so when you're through, well actually when you're working and you get to have a low amount of material in the bucket, take another 5-gallon bucket and then fill it back up. there's no need to take this off and put a new bucket on. Just continually fill it. So now you're gonna take a break. First one, to take this out of here so the filter comes out of the bottom, and just let it drain for a few minutes, because you don't want to have it dripping up here. Just let it drain. Another thing, when you're taking a break and you're going to come back to work, be sure to put your lid back on any open material so it doesn't absorb any moisture or become oxidized. And while it's draining, it's a good time to wipe the hose off too, so you don't have any messes dripping down, and it needs to be cleaned anyways. Tack free in minutes, so you don't track it around. The best product to use to clean out your pumps and lines is xylene. So we finished with the xylene. Now we're going to add any kind of oil that's inexpensive to flush the xylene out. And again, just put in just a small amount to push out the xylene, and then we'll be done. So you turn the machine on, slowly turn it on. You'll see the oil going down in the tank. And once you see clean oil coming out of the manifold, getting rid of all the xylene, you know you're good. So when you're done with the flush tanks and you have the oil flush through the system, undo the coupler, slide it back, take it off. You're going to have a little residual oil that's going to drip. It's nice to have something to catch it in. Now you're ready to cap it off. We've put grease on the threads, push it up nice and firm, and screw the coupler on. Nice and tight on both sides. So now it's a sealed system on this end and on the end of the manifold. So after you've purged all the xylene out with the oil, attach your grease gun to the zerk and dispense it until you see grease coming out of the end on both sides. Always take a little bit of the grease, put it on the threads so they don't, it's easy to get the retaining nut on and off easily. Put the nightcap back on. There's a slot in the middle. It's held on with the nut.